From Tel Aviv is Yuval Steintz, head of the Knesset Defense Readiness and Fighting Terrorism Committee. Thank you very much for joining us. You would have heard John Ging speaking to us there from UNRWA. He says it's a catastrophe in Gaza and that your siege and the Israeli army's offensive is terrorizing the people of Gaza. Your response?
Well, no doubt about war is terrible. For all sides, and especially for civilians. But we are doing what any normal country would do after 6,000 rockets that were launched from Gaza into Israel in the last 2 years. Any country, United States, Britain, France, Egypt, would act the same if from a nearby territory 6,000 rockets were launched day after day on our cities, on our towns, on our civilians. And we are doing our best to minimize collateral damage for civilians.
Let's turn it around a little bit. Let's turn it around a little bit.
You know, the IDF, let me tell you, the IDF...
You've occupied the Palestinian land for 41 years, sir. You've occupied the Palestinian land for 41 years, as you say, day after day after day. So surely that would give you some justification for resistance to that.
Let me tell you, you know, this is so dishonest. We occupied the territories in 1967 after 6 Arab countries and the PLO declared that they are going to destroy the state of Israel and to kill all of us. We withdrew totally from Gaza 2 years ago, and instead of peaceful relations, we suffered from 6,000 rockets on our civilians after, not before, after a total withdrawal from Gaza. Now let me tell you one thing. The IDF is using only between 1 to 2% of its firepower in Gaza. Why? In order to try to target Hamas people and not civilians. We are doing more efforts that any Western army, Americans and Brits in Afghanistan or Iraq or Russian in Chechnya, to minimize collateral damage and civilian
Let's take what you said. You're only using 2% of your firepower.
War is terrible.
You're using 2% of your firepower, right? You're using 2%. Let me finish. Excuse me. Sorry to interrupt you. You're using 2% of your firepower. You've got the fourth largest military-industrial complex in the world against a group of people firing homemade rockets. Yet, I'm sure some of the viewers would find it difficult for you to portray yourself as the victim. You're the 4th largest military-industrial complex in the world. You have nuclear weapons. This is a group of people whose airspace you control, whose borders you control, whose sea space you control. Yet you are portraying yourself as the victim.
So, let's suppose we are a mighty superpower. So I would suggest to the Palestinians and to any other nation, not to terrorize our territory, not to terrorize our civilians. What would you expect us? To continue to see thousands of rockets landing on our cities and to tell ourselves, because we are stronger, we won't give a proper defense to our people, to our citizens? Ask the same question to Britain and United States went to Afghanistan to defend themselves against terror. You know, the aim of terrorists in Gaza is not to kill so many Israelis, is to terrorize us. And therefore, we have to react, and I hope that sooner or later we will be able to form peace with the Palestinians.
It doesn't look as if you're pursuing peace at this moment in time. Not everybody in Israel shares your view. There's an interesting quote I have from a Tel Aviv resident who spoke to our correspondent James Bays very recently. He was protesting against your offensive. He gave James Bays this analogy. He said that he's against the incursion into Gaza, the offensive into Gaza, because he said when a heavyweight fights a featherweight boxer, as long as the featherweight is not knocked out, it's a victory for him. You're not going to be able to knock Hamas out, so Hamas wins.
First, I am very proud, although I disagree, I'm very proud to live in a democracy in which people can protest, even in time of war, against their government. I disagree, but I am very proud that people in Israel can demonstrate against their own government, even in wartime. This is a democracy. Now I disagree. Of course, we can knock down the Hamas. If we will do that, this will be a great relief not just to Israelis, but also to Palestinians. Hamas killed much more PLO Palestinians than Israelis 2 years ago when they took power in Gaza. It will be a great relief to Palestinians as well as to Israelis if Gaza will not be controlled by fundamentalist terrorists controlled by Tehran.
But you were talking about your respect for Israeli democracy by people protesting on the streets. What about respect for Palestinian democracy when they voted Hamas into power?